CNN, Phoenix, Arizona.
Let's bring in David Leopold now. He's in Cleveland, Ohio, very experienced immigration lawyer. You're also a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, and you advise, I should point out, pro-immigration groups on this very issue. First question, what we're looking at right now, what happened over the last weeks, the deportations, is it different from what used to happen under the Obama administration?
Well, the numbers are different. The numbers are much higher. What we're hearing tonight are in the hundreds. And what we're seeing tonight, or what we're hearing, is that the largest scale immigration raids in history. Now, we're not trying to verify facts, of course, but we're getting credible reports from 6+ states. And so what we're seeing, in my view, is the beginning of Donald Trump's promised deportation force.
But the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, ICE, says this takes place routinely 2 or 3 times a year and had been planned under the previous administration.
Yeah, I read what they said. They put out their fact sheets, but they're not telling us everything. They're being very vague in terms of who they're picking up and why they're picking them up. And that's why I think the mayor of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti, Congressman Joaquin Castro of Texas, and the Hispanic Caucus in Washington have called on ICE for transparency. We need to know who they're picking up. We need to know the nature. When they say they're picking up people convicted of crimes, what are the crimes? And the reason we need to know is because if you balance that against Donald Trump's executive order on internal enforcement, the priorities, what Donald Trump had said in that executive order is that they can go after anybody. And that, I fear, is what we're seeing tonight.
What are you hearing from the communities that are affected?
What we're hearing from the communities is that the Trump administration has instilled panic, has instilled fear. And this is consistent with what they've been doing since they've come into office 3 weeks ago. They've been spreading destabilization. We saw that at the airports 2 weeks ago. They've been spreading panic. They've been spreading uncertainty. You know, that's not what Americans voted for. We voted for a president who would bring us stability. We need a president who cares about how communities are and how communities are sitting in their home peaceful.
I have to correct you there. I mean, voters, Donald Trump, in a sense, is doing what he said he would do. He said he would be tough on borders, and he said he would deport a large number of undocumented immigrants, and he won the election on that platform.
Well, he did win the election, but that doesn't mean he gets to destabilize the country. And these are people, the people that he apparently is going after are people who've been here for a long time, people who have never committed a crime in their life, people who have children, long-term residents of the United States who have added to the culture, who have paid taxes, who have been part of the system. Look, if Donald Trump wants to go after hardened criminals and national security risks, I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. What is causing panic tonight in the communities across the United States, what's instilling fear in families, is the fact that ICE agents apparently are picking up people who their biggest crime was to seek a better life in the United States, like so many of our parents did.
Just briefly, you've written that Donald Trump's immigration order signed late January, just days after he came into office, was a blueprint for mass deportation. Why?
Right. Well, because if you read it, it's couched in very, fancy legalese and couched in terms of they're going to go after people who've committed crimes. But if you really read it carefully, it says anybody is a priority. You don't have to have committed a crime if you read carefully. You don't even have to have been suspected of a crime. A low-level bureaucrat over at ICE, for example, can decide that you're a priority. It is written so that every undocumented person in the United States can be deemed a priority for deportation. And that is a vast change in policy from what we had under the Obama administration. And the important thing to remember is that makes us less safe. Because if you take ICE limited resources of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and you go after some woman who is working in a hotel changing beds, or you go after some man who is picking lettuce in a field, you're diverting those resources away from national security risks and from criminals. Donald Trump tonight is making America less safe.
All right, David Leopold, immigration lawyer for nearly 3 decades now. Thanks for sharing your expertise and your insights with us. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
And you're watching CNN Newsroom. We're going to take a very short break. We're back right after this. Stay with us.